As we've learned in previous classes, if you have your nominal GDP, which we don't like, we just divide it by our CPI, multiply it by 100, and we get what? You're very smart. Who said that? You got it. Real GDP. Does everybody get this? Does everybody understand this? Because this is huge. I'm not going to stay here very long because we need the time. But if anybody doesn't understand this, we really need to do some exercise. So for example, if I give you a series of nominal GDP, and CPI for year 1, year 20, and I tell you project to year 30, 40, and 50, will you be able to do this? These are just, as you did in the test, you find the CAGRs, and then you project to future years. You find the CAGR is once again the nth root of the future value over the present value minus 1. And to project the future value to the future years, you take the present value or the initial value of a series, multiply it by 1 times CAGR plus GCAGR, CAGR, or simply R, to the number of periods. That gives you the projection. Do we all know how to do this? Are you ready to do it in your next quiz?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see you very happily answered yes.
I think it's easier than talking about GDP.
If you have your nominal GDP and your CPI, you have the years, and you have the target years to project, what do? You find your growth rates, and with those growth rates, you do the projections just as you just did. That's how you find you project your real income. Okay?
Excuse me, sir, what are the two first? Oh, I'm sorry, 1 plus, never mind.
Believe it or not, this says nominal GDP here.
Not my God.
Not what?
Not my God.
God. GDP. Oh, my writing is so horrible. So sorry about that. Did everybody copy this? And this? Are you done with this?
So nominal GDP is just kind of what it looks.
Yeah, it's what you see in the press every day. Or GDP is 20 trillion. Yeah, but of what year? Go back to base year and it turns into 12 trillion of 2010 or something like that, 2006. Okay?
Wait, can you just make that up for a little?
Well, maybe I should just write it better. So how to project real GDP? Write this down, everyone, then. Project. But that's what you did in the exam. Project real income. This is real GDP. Those, what I put in the exam, those were GDP figures. So you already did it. First, you go to the current year, or you take your future value, whatever it is, you divide by your present value, you get the square, the roots to the number of years, and then you subtract one, and that gives you your what does CAGR mean?
Compound annual growth rate.
Who said that? You rock, dude. That's exactly what it is. Compound annual growth rate, okay? So that, you find it that way. Once you find your CAGR, or let's just call CAGR R, rate. You take that, or simply rate. You go to the present value, multiply it by 1 times the rate to the number of periods that you want to project. And that gives you the projected value, the future value. Okay? Step 1, step 2.
So in this case, n would be like 19, would grow into 1 to 28.
Year 1 to year 20? Yeah, 19. And it would be 19, exactly. And to here?
10.
No, 19 plus 10? 29.
Yeah,
39, 49. Okay?
29. Gotcha.
Just looking. So correct.
that helped me understand this.
Okay, great. Okay, erase. Okay. Okay, GDP issues. Remember the production possibilities frontier, the PPF? This is good A, and good B, and this is your maximum possibility of projection, that's PPF. In macroeconomics, there's a concept called potential GDP, which is the GDP this country would achieve if it had utilized properly every single resource at its best. So let me ask you, how does this compare with this? I need a smart answer quickly.
The same?
Yeah, where is your potential GDP in this graph?
It's on the PPF.
It's on the PPF, period, boom. If you're on the PPF, you're achieving your potential GDP. So now that said, the GDP in the economy is rarely at 100%. It's rarely, you're at 85, 89, 91, 93. Nowadays, it's probably 94 or 96. There's something called, write this down, the capacity utilization. I didn't write this in the rate. So this is a term for a plant or a company, but you can make it extensive to all the economy. If you're using your plant at full speed, you're probably going at 98, 99%. If you're going the economy at full speed, you're probably going 94, 96%. I mean at full speed, because there's always frictional unemployment and stuff like that. So, when your capacity utilization rate is very, very high, over 90%, 95%, then you're almost reaching your potential GDP, okay? If you're in just recovering from a recession and you're starting to, you're going to, in recovery mode, your capacity utilization rate is much less than those levels, and you have still a lot of slack in capacity to fill up in the economy, okay? Capacity utilization rate and potential GDP, two hugely important concepts, none are in the book. Did everybody copy this? Take pictures, breathe it, inhale it, subsume it through your brain. Really, really key. Capacity utilization rate, high capacity utilization rate is an approach to your country's potential GDP, and would be simplified by drawing production possibilities from tiers and locating yourself very close to it. Okay. So what is economic growth? Economic growth is just increase in the GDP, in the real GDP, period. Your real GDP grows, your economy is growing. There's nothing more to it, okay? Not your nominal GDP, because it could be all inflation. Okay? Your real GDP grows, your economy is growing. So how do you measure the percentage change in your GDP? Really simple. You take your GDP over GDP times 100. And as you know, this is last minus earlier over earlier times 100 is GDP growth. Percentage growth. Okay, clear to everyone? Okay, the business cycle that we already spoke of is measured peak to peak. You have, huge thing for you guys. I'm gonna teach you about how economists see these things in real life. You see these series of points. That's what they see really. They don't have those nice curves. So what they do is, they say, this is more or less the long-term trend. Boom. Okay, fine. And on top of that, they put the cycle. The cycle goes like this. Perfect. We already know the cycle. But on top of that, they split the years. Each year has more or less a set pattern, which they call seasonality. More or less, in winter it goes like this, in spring it goes like this, in summer it goes like that, and in winter it goes like this. This pattern repeats in every business throughout every year. So it's as if that you brought to here. So it's actually like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, like that, like that, like that. So it's trend, cycle, and seasonality is the three statistical determinants of a performance of in a time series, okay? Of a variable in a time series. This is a variable and this is a time series because it's time. This is,
And to be clear,
wait. Do you get this? This is time and this is one variable moving through time. So they split. The long-term trend is like this. On that they draw the cycle. And at a micro level, intra-year level, they have seasonality, okay? So that's how they understand it. Trend, cycle, seasonality. Everybody write that down if you want to be economists.
but that seasonality applies to the economy as a whole, right? You're looking at a kind of meso level, right?
Yeah. The seasonality is definitely a macro term too, not only a
But we're not, yeah.
We're not what? Something?
Obviously, individual businesses will have very different seasonality.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's-
yes.
It's meso and macro, but not micro. We can go back to that.
What you mean is they tend to compensate each other?
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
okay, got it. Okay. GDP income approach, okay. So the income approach to GDP, this is the end of the expenditure approach, okay? Which is what is most commonly used by economists in explaining the formation of a GDP. So now we have, that's the expenditure approach, we're done with it, let's go to the income approach. Okay, so you have, remember that you have the decision makers and their types of economic groups. You have, first, you have, of the households, they're mostly related with two types of income. Compensation of employees, which is salaries and salaries, wages, and benefits. Salaries, wages, FICA, income, which is Social Security, Medicare, and other benefits of citizens of the U.S. and abroad. Listen to what this is. The national income is the income of every American citizen, no matter where he is. It doesn't include foreign nationals living in the U.S. and earning in the U.S. I am not part of the national income, okay? Then you have, after compensation of employees, you have proprietors' income, which are, who knows the term sole proprietorship? Proprietors' income. Almost all farmers, small farmers in the U.S., which are not these mega farms, are individual farmers. They produce and they do their business through their own tax structure. They have a 1040, which is your normal personal tax construct, and their business is an extension of their personal being, and they're fiscally akin. The person to the business is one and the same. So that's why when in Congress they come laws to tax the rich, you got to be very careful, because some of them are the rich, others are just your everyday people doing business as sole proprietors. So be very careful what you tax, whom you tax, when you tax, because you're trying to tax the rich, you're actually taxing small businesses left and right, okay? So that's proprietor's income. So proprietor's income is the income of all these small businesses doing sole proprietorships, or they're self-employed and as I said, sole proprietors. This includes farmers' own consumption. When farmers produce and consume themselves what they produce, this is included in proprietor's income. Larger corporate profits, or profits. Pretty explanatory. Income of corporations and businesses. Number 5, rental income of persons. This is a really tricky one. Rental income of persons. not because when you rent, there's anything strange, but if you have a property and you rent it out, that goes here. But if you live in your own home, it is considered that you pay a rent to yourself. That is called, self-rental
Self-rental.
value imputed. So this includes self-rental, includes self-rental. Okay? So you, everybody that owns his own home, it's as if he paid himself rent for that utilization of that home. And finally, interest received by U.S. household and governments. Interest received. Okay. Okay, should we stop there? Are we very tired?
Pretty tight.
Okay. Questions about this? This approach, so we're up to point 25. Oh, I have point 25 twice, by the way.
Yeah.
This is first point 25. Question, did anybody learn anything? So this is the core of macro. That's the center of macroeconomics, the GDP. How you doing, Mr. Ludwig?
I was just switching.
Okay, just, write me in the